Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Gamer Social Club Weekly News Podcast. It is the 15th of May, 2025. It's a Thursday evening here in the UK, and you are joined by another trio this time, but a little bit more empathy, fewer daggers this week. Lady V is not with us. She's taking a little break, obviously, as we're all allowed. And we are back with my good friend, Mark, aka We Work at the Hive. How are you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Hey, Harry, I'm good, buddy. Good to be here, and glad to not be getting rinsed by V this week. So, yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, it's a safe zone. It's a boys' club today, so yeah, we're all safe. It's okay until she hears this, and then we get it. But there we are. Yes, of course. Sorry, I forgot to mention. I am Harry, aka Knavish Crayfish, your host as every week, and then obviously making out the trio this week is my good friend Adam, aka Oh No, Not Addy. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm very well, thank you. Great to be here. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, you too, man. Yeah, you've been busy obviously today. We came back from another one of your rehearsals. Your shows are going well, I take it.
Yes, rehearsing for Guys and Dolls, which is our next musical that we're doing at the theatre group. It'll be very good fun. I'm playing Nathan Detroit. If you want to know who that is, Frank Sinatra played his character in the film. Just saying.
Okay. All right. So we're talking important character then. Obviously, I don't know Guys and Dolls, I'm afraid. So yeah, I am that layman.
Yeah. It's very good. It's very good.
Excellent. Very cool. Very cool. Well, of course, you are here listening to the Gamer Social Club Weekly News Podcast. If this is your first time, of course, hello, welcome. If you are a return listener, viewer, hello as well. We are a gaming-centric website over on www.gamersocialclub.ca, where we cover video games across all manners of news, reviews, previews, interviews, guides, editorials, lots of guides. And yeah, we have this little YouTube channel here as well, which you can obviously subscribe to. There's a little button down below. And yeah, we like to do this little weekly news podcast where we catch up with each other about the games we've been playing, talk a little bit about the news, what's going on in the industry and general hubbub. Point you to any of the material that we put up on our site covering up the stories, and then what we're looking forward to. But yeah, if you are new here, of course, thank you for watching. We hope you enjoy the video. If you do, please consider dropping a like on this. And if you have anything you'd like to ask us or any feedback for us, please drop it in the comments below. We're always looking for feedback of any sort, even if you've got like a fun idea you'd like to pitch to us about something, whether it's a topic of conversation or just an idea for a segment of the show or something like that. We're always willing to try new things at the end of the day. We want to try and find a fun audience that will come back and enjoy hanging out with us every week. But yeah, as I said, we generally cover a lot of stuff over on the site. So of course, if you're interested in any of our work, it will be over there. We do also have a little guides channel, which you can look up, the Gamer Social Club Guides YouTube channel. So if you're interested in any of our video guides, please go and have a look over there as well. And then, yeah, of course, please subscribe to the channel if you'd like more of this sort of content. We try and put it out every week as consistently as we can. And yeah, this is the sort of thing you can come to expect from us. We are on all the socials as well. We are on Twitter/X at gamer_S_C. And then we're on Threads and Blue Sky and all manner of other things at Gamer Social Club. So really straightforward. And again, our personal socials and all of this sort of gubbins, as it were, will be down in the description below, alongside any links to anything that we bring up, whether it's our own stuff or things that maybe we want to point you to that might be of interest to you. But yeah, that is, as we say, the rigmarole out the way. Let's get into what we've been playing. And I think it's going to be an interesting one because I'm coming off the back of some stuff. I was playing Expedition 33 and reviewing that, and also then doing the Midnight Walk. So I've been kind of coming down off of a busy period for myself. Still doing a little bit of Expedition 33 every day. Can't get enough of it. And yeah, I feel like I'll probably be playing that game for the majority of the year. But otherwise now I've picked up another game for review, which, unfortunately can't say anything about right now, but you can look forward to, that sort of material later on. But otherwise then for myself, yeah, that's kind of it. I'm looking forward to, getting into Doom and that sort of thing. But yeah, haven't quite managed it yet. So yeah, since Mark, you weren't here obviously last week, why don't you catch us up on what you've been playing?
Cheers, Harry. It's been a bit of a quiet last fortnight, which has been super busy outside of gaming. So there's been little going on for me. But what I have played, I've had a really good time with. First thing to come back to is South at Midnight, which last time I was here, I think I was probably on about chapter 9 at that point, just looking at my old notes from the last show. But since then, got through the game, got all the collectibles, got most of the achievements,
Nice.
pussied out on the no boss hit ones after they just drove me to the brink of insanity, and one of them didn't pop for me, so I'm just done. That was the end for me.
Oh, that's the worst.
Um,
Yeah, that's rough.
I had a minor Twitter rant about that, but anyway. But honestly, I thought the game was superb. I mentioned last time I was here, I love the visuals, and I think the stop motion was just something that the game absolutely nailed. I thought it was a bit like optimistic from the developers to try and pull it off, but I think they did it really well. And the environments just look stunning. I thought the boss design was really good. I really loved the Molly boss fight. Minor spoiler there, I guess. But that's one of the late game bosses that I really, really enjoyed. And chapter 12 and 13, I think they were just absolutely sublime. The platforming and some of the level design there was the best of the game, and I had a really good time at the end of South of Midnight. And what I quite liked is that it started to kind of pick up the pace towards the end as well. So 15-hour game that was quite long chapters early on, but towards the end of the game, the pace picked up, the story picked up, everything wrapped together quite nice and quickly, which I think is good game design. And honestly, I think Compulsion nailed it. It was a really solid game. If I was to give it kind of a mark rating, it would be somewhere 8, 8.5. And I'm really happy with what the developers put out. And I think it's another win for Xbox. So yeah, I'm here shilling as always for the green team, but had a really good time for that. Hopefully that comes to PlayStation in due course. But yeah, really good time, really good time. And I know that Addy said it would be one of his in the running for Game of the Year. So could probably echo some of those comments too.
Absolutely, it was. I mean, the music was just. I mean, I loved the music. I mean, I've been soundtrack. I think I said before. I think it was just the boss music was just amazing. I loved it. Every so often I'm walking around my house going, just got to be done. What did you think about the last boss fight?
That was disappointing. I will be honest. I
Yeah.
I felt it was worst
Interesting.
final boss fight since Quantum Break, which was just
Ooh,
it's
yeah.
very notorious if you've not played that. It was. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't played the game because it's still relatively new. But the final boss was a letdown. I think you'd probably agree, Eddie.
Yeah, I do. I got why it was the way it was, but it was a bit anticlimactic for given how good the other three main bosses were created and crafted. It was like it almost feels like did they run out of time? Did they run out of steam with ideas for cool stuff? Like it's a shame, really. Yeah.
That's interesting. I haven't finished it yet. I am now on to chapter 11 or 12. So I know it's close to the end. So I've yet to have that boss. So I'll be interested to see what that's like. Because again, I went back to it after reviewing Expedition 33 and suddenly went, oh god, yeah, I didn't finish it. I only got up to chapter 9, I think, as well. So pressed on for a little bit more over the last couple of days. And yeah, you're right. Like it's such a brilliant game. The stop motion animation, which again, having played Midnight Walk, which is all that as well, because that's all done by hand with the claymation and all the rest of it. So seeing more of that again, I was like, God, yeah, this works so well in video games. It really does. And like, having had the other pieces of media like the Spider-Verse films bring in the whole, having different things moving at different frame rates and stuff, like it's such a brilliant aesthetic in and of itself. And I think if you can mix it and match it with different visual styles and stuff, I think there's a lot of room for that in video games for myself personally. Anyway, I could see a lot more of it and enjoy it. But then, yeah, as you said, Addy, the music, it's top notch, brilliantly written music, and then just how they use it as a sort of narrative tool is so clever. And I find myself just so caught up in the songs because I want to hear what they're singing about and hear how they tell the tale that you've been weaving, and yeah, it's a very harmoniously put together game. So it'll be interesting to see this boss fight.
Yeah.
And like we've all shared how we all understand it's passable combat. That's fine. It works.
It never bothered me. Like
Yeah.
some people make it like it was terrible, and it's like it's fine. It works. It's not. It's functional. I never got bored with it. Like the enemies were the way the kind of groups of enemies that you would fight in those arenas. They mixed them up enough that it was like it was a different experience every time. Like, oh, am I going to manage these two with this one and that sort of stuff. It never felt like it overstayed its welcome or anything. So I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
I agree.
testament to the rest of the game that, like, despite maybe some concerns around the combat, but like the last boss thing, that it doesn't detract from the, like, we've all said game of the year in the running, and it was an amazing experience, and like, oh yeah, the last boss was a bit naff, wasn't it? Yeah. Still, it was an amazing game though. Like, it doesn't detract from any of the rest of it. With sometimes games can feel a bit, it completely taints it when they what's the word? They fumble the whatever it is, they stick the landing. That's it.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah. God, my brain stopped then.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, towards the end of the game, I just honestly I just turned the difficulty down to the absolute baseline,
Right.
and I felt that it kind of added, because I was following a collectibles guide. I wanted to get everything, but I found by turning the difficulty down, it made me feel a bit more kind of OP towards the end of the game, which I really liked. I feel like games that kind of reward you at the end of the game to make you feel more powerful, and if there's no achievements tied to difficulty level, so doing that actually enjoyed the game even more. So I felt like I was kicking a lot more ass towards the end of the game.
There you go. Yeah. That's what it should be about. You should feel good whilst playing the game. Definitely. Absolutely. Um, what else, Mark? Was there anything else you have been playing at all?
Yeah, the only other thing to really highlight, I think, this week, outside the usual Call of Duty, is the game that I've put a review on the site for over the last couple of days, which is Hidden Kitten: Kingdom of Cats. And for those who follow me on social media, know that I'm a big fan of the cat hunting games. I'm not a big cozy game, but I have a real soft spot for those. I think I've played every single one that's ever come to Xbox. If you don't know what they are, basically it's Where's Wally with cats,
Brilliant.
and you're in a big map. You've got to find 200. Your eyes are popping out your head by the time you found the 200th, because you just can't see them anywhere. They're always super cheap. They're only £2-3 per time. But they're a great kind of evening sitting. But the latest one, Hidden Kittens: Kingdom of Cats, more of the same, for those fans who follow these games. Kind of medieval castle base, which is something different than they've done before. I think I beat my personal best of a completion of about 28 minutes, I think, was clocked on my gamer card. But the game does very much kind of what the others do in the series. And if you're a fan of those, definitely check the review out. And yeah, it's going to cost you less than a price of coffee, so definitely worth the price of admission there. But that's been me the last couple of weeks. Been struggling for time.
Yeah, it's been a busy one, definitely, for all of us in different ways. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the hidden object games myself. I've always enjoyed those. And funny enough, they're one of the genres I managed to get my mum into back in the day, and she used to play, which was really sweet. There was a couple of them. I think there was one called Hidden in Time or something like that, where you go through different, very very much like a Where's Wally book, where you go through the different settings and you'd have to find them in each one. You go through different periods in history, and you'd have to look and find different. It gave you like if I remember correctly, they give you like riddles and stuff like that. So you had to kind of like figure out via the clues what the object was, or like what the object was, but you had to pair it with the clue to then figure out which location it had and stuff like that. Really fun stuff like that. It's great. But yeah, it's those simple
Just you
pleasures.
saying that. Yeah, so sorry, I think I might cut you off there, Harry. Sorry. I was just going to say you've took me back, and this is, I'm only saying this because we're all ex-game employees.
Yeah.
I think you've took me back to the kind of probably the late noughties.
Oh right.
And we always used to have lots of old people coming in buying the 3 for £10 hidden object games on
Yeah.
PC CD-ROMs.
Yeah.
And you just
Yeah.
saying that has really took me back, and so
Yeah.
I'm sure some of you guys remember customers like that too.
Yeah, man.
The white box PC games with the orange border. Theme Hospital was always one of those that you could buy.
Commandos, the original Commandos is one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got some really good games on that. If you were going with those deals, man, of like, yeah, crazy deals on those sort of games. And I remember then when the DS came out, and then there were dozens of hidden object games on that, and you'd be selling them at like 3 for £20 and stuff like that. And you'd have all these little grannies coming in with like their little DS they had in their handbag. They'd obviously someone had clearly given to them at some point and taught them how to use it, and they just played hidden object games. It's like, yeah, that's wonderful. I like that. But yeah, simple pleasures, definitely. But yeah, Adam, what about you then? What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Well, I thought it was interesting when you said that you can't talk about a game because because you can't talk about it, but yet you just give away spoilers in your own review of a game of like you're just robbing people of the emotion, the full experience. I don't read his review of Clay Obscure Expedition 33. Now, that sounds weird for somebody to say, but don't go to our site and read his review because it's a spoiler and it's not marked. And he describes it as one of the most impactful and emotional things you've experienced in gaming recently, and then tells you what it is in the sentence. So no, you can't experience it for yourself. I haven't played it yet. Oh, but I know what happens. Thanks. I've experienced the ride. Anyway, what have I been playing? Oh, well, actually.
There's a very awkward cut in this.
Yes, I said it really quickly so you can't need to edit it.
That's how it works.
Yeah, I know it works. So, yeah. Spirit of the North 2, I am still trying because I'm trying to mop it up because I've put so much time into it, and despite my gripes with it, I've got like 7 collectibles or something left to get, and I'll get that bloody achievement. But it's just annoying me, and I'm trying to find it so I can do you a lovely guide so you can all find them all. But I'm annoyed with it because when the game went live, it went live late on Xbox. The achievements didn't, like the list didn't come up until Friday, even though it released on the Thursday. But like all the achievements start popping when it did go live, and like the majority of mine didn't pop. So like 7 or 8 of them went, and then there was like it didn't say I'd completed the game basically because all of the boss achievements hadn't popped. Like I bloody beat it, so I'm gonna have to play it again now to kind of to pop them. Like I'm not being robbed of it. I've done it. But I've got thankfully there's been a couple that have popped from me mopping up, so I hadn't got all of the collectibles or obelisks and stuff. So I've been mopping that up, and a few more guides have gone up on the site for that. So if you get stuck and lost or can't bother, they're there. But the other thing I've started playing in between, while I'm having a bath or just in bed chilling, I've started playing Final Fantasy on the original one, the very first one. Via cloud gaming because it's the Final Fantasy Pixel Collection is on the if you own it you can stream it thing that Xbox are doing, which I don't feel like enough people are talking about because it's really cool that you like because cloud gaming is definitely there for like Game Pass and that, but actually you can stream other games and titles if you own them, and I don't see a lot of talk about that. And I think it's just really cool that it's like they keep adding to it because if we're moving to a world where everything's an Xbox and there might be an Xbox Portable and Xbox handheld, it feels like they're gearing up for this handheld or whatever else because actually then you've got loads of titles you can play that aren't just things. And also, are they then able to add if you own it, you can then temporarily download it to your system and play it offline, like the Final Fantasy. One of my things, like if you're on a train and you want to play cloud, if you're going through tunnels, you are consistently playing, your signal's dropping all the time, right? But you can download it onto the system and play it because if you own it, it's on your license, isn't it? So that you could temporarily have it there, maybe 24 hours. Maybe hopefully they'll do that. But anyway, I've been playing Final Fantasy because I've never finished a Final Fantasy. I've started plenty of them, but I've never finished one. So I always get to disc 3. Like Final Fantasy 7, I got to disc 3 and I stopped playing it. Final Fantasy 8, I got to disc 3 and stopped playing it. Never bothered with 9 because it's terrible. And then I haven't played a lot of 9, to be fair. 10, I got quite far into it because I made a big effort on that because I got it on Xbox to play it. But yeah, I decided to go back to the first one and power through them all over time. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm about 4 hours in so far, and it was just really cool to like because I didn't know like how the series evolved. So play because my first Final Fantasy, like a lot of people, was Final Fantasy 7. I'm aware of that music and that kind of the way it works and the magic types and all that sort of stuff. But then you go to the first one, and it's Blizzara, and it's still the same thing. And like, okay, and then the music's still very similar. Like, okay. So it's really cool to see that. So I'm enjoying it so far. I'm a bit lost now. I thought I cleared like out the map, and I don't know where I'm going. Like my boat is trapped in this little thing like this, and I don't know where I'm meant to go now. But I'm enjoying flying around, and it's quite funny because I've played Strangers of Paradise lots. I didn't know that is
the offshoot one, the weird like.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's super fun. And all I can see, because I'm obviously one of the it's based on the first one, isn't it? So you can go to the Chaos Shrine, and you've got the crystals, and you've got Jack. And every time I see Jack, I just think the meme of him going chaos, and then just
I want to kill chaos.
Yeah, it's just great. So like I'm really enjoying it. So it's good. It's nice to see that kind of history, legacy, whatever you want to call it. It's nice to do. So that's good fun.
Yeah,
and it works really well on the cloud streaming thing. It's cool.
Yeah, that's also. I mean, you're right. Like, no, there aren't enough people talking about that. I don't think it's not being highlighted enough. Like, I wasn't aware that, that was on there and that, you could do that. To be honest, like, it's just not something they seem to be shouting about. But maybe it's because, as you say, they're sort of trying to just slowly build that wall up brick by brick until eventually they've got this sort of walled garden sort of environment that they're craving clearly, which is sort of you're always on an Xbox regardless of where you are, and that means you get whatever you want that you as long as you own it or you've got the Game Pass, whatever, you can get it.
Yeah,
which sounds great, and hopefully it works and it's not going to completely destroy them and have them leave the gaming industry because we're better off for having them there. But and then to your point about fantasy. Oh, sorry, Mark.
Oh, sorry, I wonder if we got a delay, Harry. I think I've cut you off a couple of times already tonight. Sorry.
It's cool. Don't worry. You go for it, man.
I was just on the topic of cloud gaming. I know that Nathan had done an article on the site over the last couple of weeks talking about the kind of the status of cloud gaming on Xbox and getting some thoughts from our kind of multinational team. Like I'm here in the UK with absolutely cack internet. Mine's really poor, but still cloud gaming is actually all right and like playable in my house. I'm never going to play COD on it, but if we're going to play something like Balatro or even Final Fantasy 1 like Addy, it's definitely doable for that. So definitely worth checking out and kind of seeing what the kind of the thoughts are from across the Gamer Social Club team. But generally, I think it's going from strength to strength, cloud gaming, and I don't think we're far away from it becoming a bit more of a norm than it kind of is now. I don't think it's ever going to replace native gaming for sure. I think everyone knows that, but as a supplementary thing, it's great. It's great.
I think you're absolutely right because I don't want to play COD on my phone with a little back button attached to it because it just doesn't. You don't feel like I like sitting on my big TV, like seeing where they are, where they're hiding, like sort of thing. You can't do that on your phone unless your phone's up here. So like, but it lends like Balatro and Final Fantasy, like the turn-based stuff. It lends itself to it because if you're getting distracted or your signal drops slightly, you get a bit of stuttering. You haven't accidentally walked off a cliff or been shot or whatever else because it's turn-based. You wait, don't you? It catches up with it. So I feel like it does lend itself to those sorts of games more.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, you want something that allows you to see everything clearly, that you don't have to be too close to it and ruin your eyesight, but also something that's not too frenetic that you're going to lose, like drop frames and things. And like you said, Ali, like it would be cool to have that option to then download it natively to your device, and then hopefully it would just be the case of something where it's like, oh, we've designed it so that your device has to basically get authorization every 30 seconds, and if it doesn't, then it stops working until it reconnects, and then you get authorization again, and then you can carry on playing it on your device. So it'd still be that you need to be connected, because otherwise, if you'd install it and they'll.
Well, look at like Netflix or Disney Plus. If you download a show, you get like a 7-day license almost. And then if after the 7 days you have to reconnect to the internet and your account, let's say, oh yeah, you can still watch it, it's fine. But like you probably wouldn't even have to do it for a week but if you're going to be offline for an hour or a day, you want to, because like 30 seconds is a bit like, well, if it's a long tunnel on a train or
absolutely,
actually, I want to be able to play, but I don't want to destroy my battery by being connected to the internet, streaming it, when actually downloading it would save me bandwidth. Because obviously that's another thing. As well, like I've got limited data or whatever on my account, but then also then I don't have to worry about that. I can have it. I can prep for a holiday. I can play it on the plane without having to, oh well, that was I can't do that yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Like 30 seconds is absurd anyway, but like the idea of it being like it touches in like once an hour, say for example, on the hour it has to like make sure it's connected just to be like, is it still okay? That's it. Otherwise, like,
Days,
I
think I think a day would be fine, because again, like if you go on a flight, you want to be able to play it for longer than that. Like an hour just check-in doesn't seem. I think it's a bit harsh. That just give us the day.
I don't know what it's like from the other side of it, as it were. That's what I mean. Like playing devil's advocate here at the end of the day, because we're all consumers here. None one of us works on the other side of this. And like, we would all want it to work like that. We'd all love it to be able to download it to every single device we ever had, and we'd never have to then have it questioned ever, because it'd be like what it used to be like, where we just bought a game and played it, and we were none the wiser. But of course, from their side of things, they're probably thinking more about security, stuff like that. Like, well, what does that mean for us as far as allowing people access to their games? Do we want them to be able to just download to the device and have it there without us being able to check? I don't know. I honestly am just, spurious kind of ideas guy right now. But yeah, ideally, you download it and then it's a 24-hour, whatever, sort of period that you just get to play it, and then at the end of it, it's like, are you still playing? Or yeah, I can see that.
If the portable Xbox doesn't have a disc tray in the back of it, I'm just fucked anyway, because none of my physical games will work.
There'll be a external one you can attach or something like that. That's what they'll do.
Like a PSP with like a UMD thing on the back or something like that.
Yeah. Or like the rumble pack on the N64 controller. Oh dear. But right, yeah. So I mean, kind of an interesting mix there for what we've been playing. Let's get on to some of the news then. Why don't we? I think we were wanting to talk a bit about the comments made at a recent Ubisoft sort of. I think it was during an interview, I believe they had, or was it during a sort of a financial quarterly?
Financial.
Yeah,
financial
wasn't it?
thing.
Yeah.
That time of year, a lot of financials at the moment.
Yes, a lot of financials, a lot of updates today as well. Just lots of games getting updates, 0.4 patches, and all manner of things. It's been busy, and we have been very busy here with a lot of stuff as well. So trying to keep track of all the news has been tough. And again, please go over to the site to check out what we've been covering over there. But yes, Ubisoft in a earnings call had some interesting things to say regarding what their sort of takeaway from what's happened with Assassin's Creed Shadows and its success, as far as they can see, based on the fact they delayed it, which is no doubt them basically saying we gave it more time so we could make it better, therefore it worked, it was a success. And how they now are looking at other titles of theirs, other games that were more than likely coming out later this year or sometime 2026, and are now being pushed into next year or into 2027. So everything seems to be given a longer development time. I think this is going to be an interesting one. I'm assuming they mean this regarding all their IPs, not just a handful they think are worth doing it with. I assume that it's a sort of blanket take on like, well, now everything gets a slightly longer development because it works for Assassin's Creed, and that's our golden goose. So might as well do the trick, make a bit of a trickle down with it. But again, purely hypothetical that on my behalf. But I would say from my point of view that's a positive. I know it means longer development. We don't get the games as soon, but I would rather see games come out in states where we're not having to deal with numerous patch updates in the weeks to come, because we're still getting technical issues and it keeps crashing on certain platforms, or bits are missing from one and the other. Or there's all these sorts of things we all have to put up with a lot of games, especially AAA. But obviously, what do you guys think? Like, Adam, what's your take on Ubisoft's takeaway from this, as it were?
It makes me laugh because it's like they've just discovered fire, isn't it? Like it's like yes, give your game more time and give your developers the time and space to make a game. The game will be better and more optimized. genius. But yeah, well done, Ubisoft. You've figured it out. But like that, they put themselves under that own pressure though over the last few years, haven't they? Because they tried to release like the COD cycle, like every year, new game, really regular, and then you get struck with all the different bugs and issues and that sort of stuff. And like, there's very few games. It's actually a talking point when a game releases and it's well optimized.
Yeah.
Like couple like Barmark's experience with like a couple of achievements not popping. South of Midnight, flawless. In terms of the way it's presented, the game, how it works, the mechanics, no one's falling through the map, that sort of thing from my experience anyway. That feels more of a rarity now, and there's just and whether for whatever reason developers, it's more going to be more, but the publishers, I suppose, are putting devs under pressure to release the game before it's ready. And if a game goes gold, then they're scrabbling to create that day one patch or whatever. So, yeah, give them time. Like, I mean, that famous Assassin's Creed Unity one where they look like a horror show, where they're just the eyes and the frame of the face and stuff like that. And like, yeah, it's good. Do it with all the games. And actually, you might not feel like you have to copy and paste the game so much as well. You can be that more creative. Like Far Cry doesn't have to be exactly the same every time because you're giving it time to evolve rather than going, we must get the new one out and that sort of thing. So yeah, absolutely, all for it. Even though I've seen that Shigeru Miyamoto never said this quote, but it's the whole, a delayed game is eventually good, with a few exceptions, because Duke Nukem Forever. But a rushed game is forever bad. Apparently he never said that. But yeah, I generally agree with that quote because you give people time. And those devs are happier then, aren't they? Because you're not putting them under crunch or whatever it's called. I was going to call it crush, but I know that's wrong. Dev Crush, it's a version of Candy Crush. So yeah, go for it. Yeah, more of it. Like I don't like this. I can't play all the games that are coming out. Give me time.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Mark, what about you? What do you think?
First things first, I think it's just nice that there's some Ubisoft positive news for once, because everything about Ubisoft for the last 6 months has just been a mess. Obviously, they've mishandled loads of IP. They've had mega layoffs. That I know one or two people personally who have been affected by that. But just, I guess, further to a couple of things Addy said, in that they're taking their time with games, they're learning their lessons from some of the big successes, and I think again, further to what Addy was saying about kind of glitchy messes, I think we live in an era now where games just become memes for looking really bad. I've got friends who don't play half as many games as I do. They will know something online that just looks awful, and they'll send me a link saying, "Oh, have you seen this? How bad this game looks?" And they're not even real like gaming people like me. So I think that the more time they take to get releases right is the right thing to do. I know they pushed back Shadows probably 2 or 3 times. I think eventually it came out. Yeah, had like a really successful launch, and the other thing for Ubisoft as well, and I don't claim to be an economist on this whatsoever, is that they've always had a reputation for dropping the price of games super quick. But I think something like Shadows looks to be starting really well. It's holding its value, and I think that's a sign that it has been a success, and it's a game that's probably worth the money. So taking the time to get it right has been a good thing to do. And just a couple of other things from this. We got the news that the Sands of Time remake is actually going to happen, and it's going to be out before April next year. And I'm sure you guys may have played the original back in the day, but the Sands of Time is one of the best platformers probably ever made for the time that it came out in. It was superb. And it sounds like the Splinter Cell remake isn't cancelled after all. I think someone in the Gamer Social Club Discord the other day was saying that it was, and I was convinced that it wasn't, and trying to tell myself that it wasn't. But yeah, it sounds like it's still being made. But sadly, not the same story for Beyond Good and Evil 2. Who knows what's going on? But
going on with
maybe
that,
that'll come out in my lifetime.
Yeah. I think this is. Everyone has said this, I think, in some fashion or another over the years. But I think this is why the Ubisoft thing is always so interesting and has this sort of, kind of tumultuous storm around at all times, is that we can all look back at times when Ubisoft were fantastic. When you saw that logo on the box, you were like, "Oh, we're in for a good time." You can go back and look at the original, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. You think of things like Far Cry 3. You can think of, even some of their smaller stuff like Rayman. Like Rayman Legends, like Rayman Origins. Obviously, you've got Splinter Cell. Like Beyond Good and Evil, the original. These are why these games keep being brought back up. Is because we think back to a time when Ubisoft, at different points in their history, they're a long-standing studio, that with many a different period, as it were. But you think back to when they were, trying to be bought out, or and they went through this crazy period of being super creative, and they made their little UbiArt department and had Child of Light and Valiant Hearts and just all these brilliant. Just Expedition 33 is made by a bunch of guys who left Ubisoft because they were bored.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake, like so that studio has so much. That whole company has so much in there, but they are dragged down, as I said, time and time again. And I've already said, I think once on this podcast at least, just awful mismanagement, complete mismanagement, and just the most obnoxious chasing of trends and this like get rich quick philosophy on everything, which is totally at odds with game development, or at least the majority of it, unless you're trying to create like shovelware games and things like that.
You know what? You know what it was. You know what? Do you know what I think the tipping point was?
What do you think?
Fucking rabbits. They were just sucking the dicks of those fucking rabbits, and they were just like, it was just too much. Like they were in everything, everywhere, all the freaking time. They were meant to be Rayman, and then Rayman dropped off the face of the cliff for these freaking rabbits. And then everyone got fed up with them, and they lost their way because maybe that was the beginning of the chasing trends. It was on Connect, it was on the Wii, it was everywhere. The TV show version thing of it, whatever it was, everywhere. And then they put them in Mario. Fair enough, those games are all right, but like they're not everywhere anymore, and like it's just too much. I never thought about it until you saying about chasing trends, and that was the point of it. And then they started doing all the other stuff, and they were always just behind, weren't they, with the trends? But sorry, stick around. That might get cut because it's a bit sweary. But
no, we like a bit of sweariness on here, and as long as you do as well, listeners and viewers at home, please let us know, like, subscribe,
version.
all that sort of jazz. But no, this is it. This is why there's a bit. I think this is why Ubisoft is such a bittersweet topic. I don't think everybody feels the same way about other studios like that. Like I have fond memories of games that have the EA logo on it, but I don't think back to a time in my life when I would look for that logo and know that it meant something. Similar to going back and looking at the original like Nintendo like mark of approval logo on all their games and stuff like that. Like again, best example of this for me is Rare. I see that golden R on anything, I'm playing it. It doesn't matter. Like I'm giving it a go. And they've had some rough patches as well. They went through some stuff. They were the Connect studio and everything like that. But at the end of the day, they have been a constant in my life, and I will always look to that golden logo as a sign of quality. And the same, unfortunately, I don't think can be said of Ubisoft. That's not to say there isn't the passion there and the expertise and all the rest of it, but it's just that unfortunately it is pushed through a filter or lens or something like that of this just debacle that causes everything to come out squiffy and weird, and it doesn't quite land properly. And if it does, it's kind of a miraculous event, kind of like the Prince of Persia Lost Crown game. Like again, just a sudden spurt of genius out of somewhere, and they're like, "Oh, this worked really well. Didn't sell enough though. Shut it down."
Yeah.
What the hell? It's old news, I know, but it speaks to something. So I don't know. I hope that this is I hope this is a moment where there's a lot of self-reflection somehow. They're taking the right note, probably for the wrong reasons, but they're at least taking the right note from it. That's how I guess I can look at it. I don't know. What do you got? But do you think then this is going to affect the likelihood of us seeing other games from them outside of the main ones that we know about, like Assassin's Creed and Far Cry and so on and so forth? Do you think this ups the chances of us seeing another Rayman for example. We already know about the room, the hubbub around things like Splinter Cell. But do you think, something else maybe come from them, or a new IP? Very now and then trying to do something like a racing game or a sports game. Like, do you see them dipping into that again?
I feel like we've kind of getting to the stage with the big AAA publishers where they're kind of narrowing their franchises that they're working on at one point, and I think that's kind of becoming the industry trend. So I think that Ubisoft is going to be Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and maybe one or two others, but probably obviously Rainbow Six is really good numbers for them, and Ghost Recon.
Yeah.
I think they'll be kind of like the cornerstones, and there'll be a few supplementary kind of projects that they'll work on. I think that you'd look at EA, they've kind of had a few. What was the EA kind of creative program they ran for a few years? There were some good games that came out of it, but that's kind of done. Yeah. That's kind of seems to be gone, which I think is like a negative because this brings down the kind of creative freedom of the industry.
It is still
However,
there, Mark, because it's what Hazelight is published under.
of course.
Yeah. So it is
you're
still
right.
going, but you're right. It's not as if they're putting out like half a dozen of games a year under that banner. It's like one game. It's a Hazelight game, and then it's a game like Unravel, and then it's another Hazelight game, and then it's a game like I can't even remember like some of the other ones that come. I think Fe.
When you were saying about some of the UbiArt stuff and like Prince of Persia, it reminded me of Tales of Kinzera, and that from the original thing. And it's like, well, what are the expectations being put on games like that? Because they aren't selling Assassin's Creed numbers, but they were critically like reviewed really well, and everybody who plays them really rates them, and then it were a success, shut it down, we won't do another one or whatever. It's like, well, what are you wanting to get from this? This isn't your golden ticket, but it shows that you are passionate about different stories and different ways of playing games. It's not the copy and paste of everything else. I'm not saying that Assassin's Creed and Far Cry are always that, but you want different stuff. Otherwise, it becomes this mire of the same thing, and like, where's the originality, sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think there's been like a lot of big publishers getting spooked as well when they've been trying new things. Look at PlayStation. They've spent the last kind of 2 or 3 years trying to get into the games as a service market and kind of having those live service games, but that's obviously not worked. There's been The Last of Us was cancelled, Concord, well, enough said. There's been a few other things as well, but they're going to take a while now to get back to their kind of single player, big AAA action, roots, and which people are asking for. And you don't get back to that overnight. It's going to take several years. But I think being that marathon, like that Bungie are working on that now. The reception's been a bit arse. People aren't that bothered by it. And I think chasing trends, like one of you said just a few moments ago, is just not the right thing to do. And try and be a bit creative and stick to what you know and just do what you're good at.
Exactly. No one wants the same thing, but with a different no one wants the same thing, but in a Ubisoft skin. No one wants it in EA version of it. They want different stuff, right? That's why they come to you. But like you said, the chasing the trends thing with the Sony thing, it's very stark at the moment because what are Sony doing? Because are all of their releases absolutely scuppered now because they have not released anything this year in terms of like the cadence of Microsoft and Xbox's releases have been amazing this year so far, and we've got Ghost of Yotei at the end of the year.
That's it. Now. That's it. Yeah.
From the first party studios,
Death Stranding 2. Technically, that's not a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But it's a bit like the other way, isn't it? Like they flipped it back to 2021 Microsoft versus.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting, but because that's what happens when you put all your eggs in those chasing trends baskets. You take the financial hit, but it also ruins your whatever you've got coming in your release schedule, doesn't it?
Pipeline, yeah.
It's rough out there, and I think a lot of the time people forget that often the trendsetters of any trend across any medium or whatever you want to talk about have not gone into it with the intention of sending a trend. Setting a trend. They just wanted to do something different. Normally, they wanted to try something new, and then off the back of that, everyone goes, "Oh, we really like this new thing that's come about," and then everyone's like, "Oh, well, then we'll start building it off of that." It's very hard to manufacture something that is meant to happen through just organic kind of just spontaneity. You know, you can iterate on things, and it's the thing I go on about of, you take inspiration from something, you iterate on it, and then you innovate on it. That's what happens. It's what happens with all video games. They're all built upon the same building blocks of the games that have come previously. Any big hit you play today has its roots in like so many video games that have come before it, and probably other forms of media and art and all the rest of it. Um, you know, so yeah, you can't make that happen in a sterile environment. Where you're just like, right, whiteboard. How do we make next big hit? Not like referencing anything, just how do we make next big hit? That's such a like sort of amorphous kind of just like it doesn't mean anything. What is that?
No, we shouldn't even be asking that question.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you make the game you want to make and the game is good, then it will be a hit in its own right in whatever form that looks like. It could be a hit from, like, it gets 95 Metacritic rating. It could be a hit, it sells 1 billion copies. It could be a hit that people play it for 10 years. But, like, don't go out to make the game you want. Don't go out to go, we want to send 10 million copies of this game, because then you're in it for the wrong reasons, right? Like,
Yeah.
of course you want your game to sell. But, like, make the game that you want to sell, not you want the game. You know what I mean? It's just nonsense.
Yeah. If you're a musician, you still want to write about heartbreak, but you also hope that people listen to your music so you can afford to, have a home and buy food and, have clothes and all the rest of it, live a normal life as a musician, as an earning musician. Like, you should be able to do that as game developers and anything else. That's the whole point of this. It's an expression, and it's something that we do for recreation at the end of the day. So it strikes me as odd that has sort of drifted so far away from what seems to be at the heart of a lot of studios and a lot of publishers and everything like that. But then again, at the same time, you have to remember that all these places have got boardrooms full of suits who don't care, don't give a shit, frankly, don't know, and just keep saying, like, make the money and that's it. Whatever you have to do to make the money.
You can see you can see the passion in certain games. Like, to go back to South of Midnight again, but like, you see the passion that's gone into that game, and that has been, like, as far as I understand, like, a success. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, let them do what they want to do and, like, do it their way. Single player game, 15 hours, amazing design across the board. Go for it. Like, it's great.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
South of Midnight is the best example of that, especially because, again, the developers went on record saying, like, we are not a studio that is meant to make like your million selling, your 10 million selling games. That's not our purpose. We make smaller titles. We make interesting, creative, experimental things. We are like a what PlayStation used to have with the studio that made Media Molecule. Stuff like that. Though they're that studio, and Xbox knows, they're fully aware. Is why Phil Spencer went and bought so many. With the purse strings undone, he was able to go and buy Obsidian with Ninja Theory and Compulsion Games and In Exile all at once when they were doing that. Back when they did when it was like the full, like, 180 on everything with the Xbox One. They're like, right, well, we've got to fucking sort this out now. We've got nothing coming out. No one's making anything. Sea of Thieves is okay, but that's about it. What are we going to do? Let's buy a bunch of studios who we've got half decent relationships because we've either supported them in the past or we've just been looking at their games a lot recently. Oh, Compulsion have got some fun stuff going on. In Exile, they're great. Let's get them. Obsidian, fantastic. We've worked with you guys before. We know what you do. Let's work with you as well. It all makes sense. And now, obviously, it's taken a while, but we can see that plan that was already formulated now. Nearly 10 years ago, more now. It's like it's taken a long time. Definitely, that's not great. But at the same time, you can at least now look back and go, like, oh, they weren't just picking names out of a hat for these studios. They were thinking about what they were meant for when they got them. And I think that was the purpose. In the same way that Obsidian was allowed to make Pentiment alongside Grounded, and now
Yeah.
they've made Avowed, and they're making the Outer Worlds 2. Like,
Yeah.
they know what they're doing with these studios finally, with most of them anyway. And let's hope that that continues, and let's hope that other publishers are able to kind of take away the same lessons here. Same with Expedition 33, much smaller budget, much smaller team, much shorter, well, relatively shorter development time. Double A with a triple A look to it.
Every game has to be AAA, does it?
Exactly. The double A it could be somewhere where the best experiences come from. Being double A doesn't stop you from being able to be a 9 or a 10 out of 10, or even an 8 or a 7, which is still really, really fun and good. Hell, have fun with a 6. Why not? It can be fun. Sometimes you can find fun in that sort of stuff. Who knows? But yeah. Anybody else?
Just one final.
Yeah. Go, Mark. Go.
Yeah. Just one last thing on that. Just kind of thought that's just come into my head the last few moments. It's around kind of Ubisoft, and they've had such a kind of troublesome couple of years, and I think it just kind of makes me think about how important the competitiveness of the industry is. Look at the other first party publishers that have had a really tough time, and they've come out swinging, and then when you get the publishers, the first parties which are in first place, that's what kind of makes them start to falter. Xbox 360 going into Xbox One, they just completely blew it. But they knew they had to come out swinging, and that's kind of what's made Xbox better than it was 5-10 years ago. And you look at Switch, when they come on the back of the Wii U, they had a shocker, and they knew they had to innovate, do something different, do something new. And obviously the Switch changed the industry and probably put handhelds.
Yeah. It's
sorry guys, I thought I'd drop out then. I'm back.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Yeah, just to put kind of handhelds back in the back in the industry really. But I think when publishers are in second or third place, be that first party, third party, whatever, it's just good for the industry, and it kind of breeds creativity, breeds innovation, and hopefully Ubisoft are learning a lot of lessons from being in such a difficult 12 to 18 months, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think as long as they're able to take away the right lessons, even if it's for the wrong reasons, because they don't understand why they should do it completely, but they do it anyway, that's a positive in my book. And let's hope that people like the teams like at PlayStation can kind of get on board in the same way with like, oh yeah, this isn't work. Let's get back to what we know. Let's get back to what we do best.
Yeah, it's kind of like, and it's not that I don't feel like it's the same as PS3.
No, that was pure arrogance. That was just absolute arrogance. Yeah. No, this was them. This was them getting caught up in the chasing trends.
Yes.
This was
I feel like they probably have learned a lesson a little bit, but like they've lost a lot of, with the whole God of War live service thing that Blue Point were working on 4 or 5 years of work, just scrap.
No, that won't be happening again.
No, but do you know what I mean? It's it's we'll see. I'm excited.
We'll see. Once bitten, twice shy. Hopefully, that's hopefully what they've learned. Well, anyway, we'll see what happens. We'll obviously keep on top of all this and see what Ubisoft come up with down the line. Hopefully we'll get more of an idea of what they plan for their titles in the future.
Bring back Ubi out though, because those games are great. Like
100%.
Yes.
100%. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, yeah. I think that's us on the old Ubisoft. Was there anything else we wanted to chat about on the news? We've still got a bit of time probably before we want to wrap this up. If we want to do that. Any other stories that sort of stuck out to us there? Obviously, I don't think we talked about GTA. Obviously, with its new trailer.
We talked about last week. We talked about it last week, though, didn't we?
Have we had the trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because me and V were talking about whatever. Right.
You're right. I'm going. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I thought we'd only had the change of date.
We haven't heard from Mark. We haven't heard from Mark on his thoughts on the trailer.
Very true. Mark, thoughts on GTA 6 trailer?
Finish watching it. Put it on again. Finish watching it. Put it on again. Finish watching it. Put it on again.
So you're not a fan?
Yeah. He just really likes the Pointer Sisters, which is the song in the trailer.
You can just listen to the track, like it's fun.
I thought it looked absolutely, it just looked sensational. I'm a big GTA fan. Probably didn't like 5 as much as most people, even though I did still, think it's a kind of 9.5, 10 out of 10 game. It doesn't have like a special place in my heart like the PS2 trilogy, and even GTA 4, but Vice City is my absolute favorite GTA of all time, and
Yeah.
seeing that world recreated in modern gaming just looks absolutely incredible. I was listening to IGN's GameScoop this morning. Some of the things they were talking about, like the bubbles in the beer bottles,
Yeah.
and people kind of when people are opening cash registers and the coins are jingling around individually. Like, how long does that take somebody to do? Like, there is no way that any other publisher or developer on the planet does that. And I mean, most people don't even notice it. You need one of these
Well,
Cradle Rewind weirdos on the internet to pull it out the bag. But
I was going to say
yeah,
about that because it's like that is great detail, isn't it? And it looks amazing. But in the moment when you're running around with an AK-47 out, what effort goes into making that happen? That like nobody's going to see outside of the trailer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
it's amazing. Like,
yeah, I can only imagine that the trailer is highlighting those moments where it's going to be like cutscene stuff, which shows those bits off. Obviously, when you're running around in game, I can't imagine if you go up to every cash register and open it that they're all going to have coins in them that all move individually all the time. I feel like you'll come across quite a few that are empty, maybe just because it's like, well, we don't have to do this every time. But hey, I don't know.
it just looks special, absolutely special. And I think there's all like the gimmicky things like I've just mentioned, but the details are amazing. But I think the thing that appeals to me most is the story that we've got in store for us, like the Bonnie and Clyde kind of set up. Now, I did like the 3 characters that we had in I think 5. I thought they were all individually excellent, and Michael was probably my favourite. He was just such a dad, such a moron. The way that it's going to be with Jason and Lucia in the new one. Oh man, I'm so excited, and it comes out a few days before my birthday, and then about a week before the World Cup, and I know what I'm doing next summer already. So
Nice.
barbecues, watch the World Cup on repeat. Apologies to wife and kids already, but that is going to be May and June next year is already sorted. I don't need a summer holiday. I'm just going to be doing that.
Amazing. Yeah, taking a break
Looking
to
really good.
Vice City. Why not? Why not? But yeah. What other snippets of news do we want to cover quickly then? We got a few minutes.
Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra was delayed, wasn't it?
Indeed.
To talk about delayed games, but that was just announced this week, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. The Amy Hennig led Captain America / Black Panther game, which is, it's unfortunate, and I think, as has been said, I think by others as well, it's one of those cases where normally we would be like, it's a delay. A delay is a delay. Like we just said, it's a good thing normally for games to be delayed because it gives them more time. I think with it, when it's an Amy Hennig game, who is someone who is very, very much is a very highly respected person in the industry, a long-time veteran who's got their name on so many different franchises and worked at so many different studios and made a lot of people's favorite games over the years. To then have had this tough period where she was heading up a Star Wars game that got cancelled at EA, I think it was, and obviously then went on to set up her own studio, and it's tough. It's tough to hear it, but at the same time, it's not a cancellation. It's been put on the back burner. It's just it's been delayed. It probably means that it's still going absolutely fine. It's just they worked out, oh, you know what, we could do with an extra however many months, year, and it's like, good, okay, cool, that's fine. But ultimately, I think that's why everyone was a little bit more like, ooh, what does this mean?
For more polish, and a lot of games do that, don't they? Like ironing out bugs, optimizing, making it so your Captain America doesn't fall through the map, which is probably a good thing.
Everyone's falling through maps. It's weird. I don't know what's going on.
I've experienced that a few times recently, Heather. I completely forgotten that there's an Iron Man game in development by EA. I completely forgot EA were working on the Iron Man game, and it came up on a tweet.
Yes.
Like they asked,
Yeah, I
like,
did
"Oh
too.
God, yeah, I forgot about that completely." It's going to use all the, it's going to use all the Anthem tech, isn't it? For like you're flying around. But I completely forgot.
Put it to good use, I guess, doing that maybe. Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, it's not been it's been a slower news week, I guess, in general. Not as much crazy news. There's been some ups and some downs, but all of it's basically covered over on the site, or as much of it as we can. We do what we can to cover the news as best we can, alongside doing I'm not even going to use the word plethora this time. There's got to be a better word. What's the word? How many guys have you put out this week, guys? Seriously.
Plethora.
Well, you don't know. I just said not that word. I hate how you undermine me every time. No, okay. We put out a shed load, we'll say this time, ladies and gentlemen. A shed load of guides. It's absurd. I don't think I've seen so many drafts in my life. But they're all there for you, and they are across again a bunch of games. You've got Spirit of the North 2, as Addy just said, has been talking about. Midnight Walk from me, Expedition 33 from myself and Dano. You've still got Mark's Lushfall photography sim guides from last month. You've got Revenge of the Savage Planet from Lady V and Sniped by a Girl. There's just so much.
Precinct as well.
The Precinct, Phrase has been working very hard on doing the Precinct. He's got a review out for that as well.
Doom.
And of course, Doom.
A billion guides for Doom.
It's
fair play for that.
It's finally here. And we have a review up for it as well, of course, alongside all of our guides. Dano has been working like a devil, like a demon. He's been working away on some amazing content for you guys. And it's a fantastic read up of his review. I did check that out. I knew I was going to play it anyway. I didn't need anybody to tell me to play it, but I do enjoy reading our stuff when we review games. And
I don't know if you know, but some demons die in Doom. I don't.
Oh, really? Oh no.
All right.
Well, now I know that. I don't know if I don't know if I can play it now. Yeah. Oh no. Woe is me, eh? Never mind. I'll trudge on. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff you can look at up on the site. Loads of stuff to enjoy there, whether it's to help you with your own gaming or just a bit of news, or one of our interviews or anything like that we've got up there as well. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and hopefully more to come. I'm hoping to get some stuff lined up over the next week or so. And I think the three of us have also got something that we'll be sort of doing as of right now, unfortunately, but that, we can't say much more than that, other than what it is, really, can we? Which is that we are, all three of us here are taking part in the test for FBC Firebreak, Remedy's new first-person co-op shooter. And that's it, I'm afraid.
It's a game. It exists. We're allowed to play it.
But we will be covering it, not to do with this stuff. We can't, but we will cover it when it comes out, when it releases. That is the intention, because it is something I think, at least I am excited for as a big Remedy fan, and I love the fact that we're going back to the oldest house, the setting of Control. This is all common knowledge. This is not new to this at all. You can go find this everywhere, and they've been talking about it. It's great. But we're going to be having a go at that. And then hopefully when the game comes out next month, in June, I want to say 16th or something like that.
I think.
I'm not sure.
Like that. Yeah, like that.
But yeah, we will definitely try and do our best to get on top of that when it comes out. Maybe get a squad together, and who knows, if it does really well, it may become a bit of a community game here. That is one thing I did forget in the rigmarole. Damn it, there's always one thing. We are very much a community here at the Gamer Social Club. We do enjoy playing with you guys in the Discord that we have here as part of it. And, we try to do community nights and things like that, and we're trying to get more of them going. But it is tricky. We're all from different parts of the world. We're a bit of a worldwide site. It's great for covering the news, not so great for getting together and hanging out and playing games. But there we are. We do what we can. Oh, and the other thing I forgot, we run everything through the old no rumor, no nonsense filter when it comes to our news and stuff like that. So you can be sure that anything you read from us is at least as factually correct as it possibly can be for the time, and we will then update things as best we can, and so you can trust that we are doing our best to bring you real news, not just made up nonsense or hearsay. So yeah, there is that as well.
Gonna slam that in the middle of a sentence.
That's it. That's all I can do. Yeah.
I forgot that.
Yeah, just roll with the punches. Maybe I'll edit it awkwardly around to the beginning at some point. That'd be great. Maybe I'll do that. Who knows? We'll find out. We'll find out. I know. I probably won't. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up very soon. So let's move on to our last segment, obviously, which is always what we are looking forward to. We've just mentioned the game I'm most looking forward to probably right now, which is probably Doom: The Dark Ages. It is out now, and I've yet to start playing it, but it looks fantastic, sounds fantastic, and yeah, I think that's going to be my pick for what I'm most looking forward to. Otherwise, yeah, it's not quite so much. It's just I can't really talk about the things I want to talk about. So there we are. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to leave it to you two to kind of fill it out a bit more. Who's excited for something coming up soon, or not so soon, as the case may be? Adam?
I am looking forward to not playing Spirit of the North 2 anymore. Not because it's terrible, just because I'm looking forward to playing something else. And I want to play Clay Obscure, but I can't because Harry ruined it for me.
That's why I can't play it, everyone. That's
I can't play it now. But I am looking forward to. I know that they're doing a tease at the moment of kind of like the Lies of P Overture DLC.
Mm-hmm.
I know that is it Crafton? No, it's not Crafton. Maybe it is. Whoever the developers are, I know that they were teasing something on Discord. They're doing like a preview type thing, and they've got like little puppets made and stuff like that. So I feel like we're gearing up to hear stuff about it, and maybe they'll get a release date at all the summer showcases that are coming up soon. We've got a lot of dates announced and stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing what all those are. I'm not looking forward to writing all the bloody summary articles for them, but that is my life, and I'm going to cover them all this year. I missed 2 last year, and I'm going to do them all.
Wow, he's going to do it, people. You heard it here.
That's my pledge. I mean, it's the same weekend as the Switch 2 comes out, but whatever.
Whatever. So whatever. The Switch 2. Who needs that, hey?
Yeah.
But yes, there are a lot of showcases. We'll do our best to cover them as best we can, like everything else. But we are only human, and there's only so many of us. Yeah.
And I can just say that
I'm not a cat.
It's official. We're doubling down. We're doubling down on the we are not a cat.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Mark, bring us back to normality, please, before we go. What are you looking forward to, buddy?
Oh dear me. I think the main game that I'm looking forward to for the rest of the month, obviously trying to get through Clair Obscure, the way that things are going, it's probably going to be August by the time I complete that game. But looking forward to a T. So talked about that after the visit to London Games Fest. It's a little indie game coming out from Annapurna. They always deliver like unique kind of little smashing games. So about a boy, girl, can't remember which actually, who's stuck in a T position and has to undertake normal life with the support of a cute little dog. So I'm really looking forward to that, and hoping to do a bit of coverage close to launch on the site. And I think the other thing I'm most looking forward to is playing Luigi's Mansion 3. So I always pick a random Switch game for a holiday. So that's been the pick for going away next week. So look forward to sitting around the pool, getting drunk, and playing my first Luigi's Mansion game in probably 20 years. So looking forward to that.
Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, enjoy, man. That's good. What a great call. What a brilliant call. I love that. Excellent. Well, I think that's going to be us, everybody. Of course, like I said throughout this, obviously, please go over, check out the site for all our written material, all the stuff we publish over there. And we've got more of our episodes of the podcast here where we talk about what we've been playing the rest of it over the last few weeks. You can try checking out some of those if you want to. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this, please consider leaving a like, leave any comments below, any feedback you have for us, any questions, anything like that. should I get an Expedition 33 tattoo? There you go. That's the question. I have no tattoos. I've always toyed with the idea, and Expedition 33 has quickly become one of my favorite games. So, you know, let me know.
Get the face thing. You know, the white face with the... I don't know what they're called.
Oh.
I've just seen it a lot.
When I went looking on for tattoos, that was one that definitely featured a lot. When I looked up Expedition 33 tattoos, so who knows? But hey, right there, yeah, just full across the face. There we go, full face tattoo. First tattoo, full face tattoo. We won't be doing that, I'm afraid. But no, I would love to hear what your thoughts are on that, so everybody. But yeah, otherwise, that is it from all of us here. We will catch you next week, hopefully, for another episode. But until then, take care, everybody. Look after yourselves and play some great games. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.